So a lot of people have said a lot of negative things about the new Dragon Age Veilguard, and I want to start this video off being very clear. Everything that they said about it is correct. Well, Dragon Age, the action fantasy flavored friendship sim, has been out for a while, and everyone on YouTube is telling everybody that Dragon Age Veilguard sucks. That Dragon Age 4 is a weak addition to the Dragon Age story as a whole, and those people are not wrong. But that doesn't mean Veilguard is a bad game. Actually, I really enjoyed it. There's going to be no spoilers in this video, by the way, just want to make that really clear, immediately. Veilguard has gotten torn apart online, and I don't disagree with most of people's interpretation of it. As a matter of fact, I really liked Wolfheart FPS's video, and he hit this game so hard that he swore off playing Dragon Age, or even covering Dragon Age on his channel, forever. It's not the dark fantasy RPG that rewarded tactical gameplay like Origin, the one we wanted. It didn't even take what made Inquisition a great game to play on and give us something more. What we got was more like if Destiny was a fantasy game that was built off the bones of an MMO mobile game. I like to compare it to Sly Cooper, but more on that later. I'm saying all this because I think you should play this game, but I think if you do, you should know what you're getting yourself into. If you're looking for Dragon Age 4, I'm sorry, that's not coming. I wish it was, I really do. We have something different, we get Veilguard. We're gonna do this compliment sandwich style, like you're getting a bad review from work. Something good about it, something bad about it, but I'm gonna start off with my favorite thing about the entire game. And that is this game's player character, Rook. I'm not downplaying this when I say it. Rook, at least my Rook, is my favorite player character that I've made in a video game ever.
So when you're making those carvings, if your leader just happened to look a little taller...
I don't measure them to scale, Rook.
All right.
And that is saying something. I've put over 1,000 hours into Baldurs Gate 3. You know, I played Inquisition twice just before this came out. So I put my time into character creators. And it's not just because he's a stone cold fox. But no, I really enjoyed my first Rook. The combination of how I designed him and the voice actor that I chose really made me give a shit about this game.
It's not your fault. You have to know that.
Then why does it feel like it was?
I know this is a hard sell. Everyone's character is going to be different, look different, choose different dialogue options, but in this game, this shitty mobile game turned AAA, this bastardization of my favorite video game franchise and book series, I just fell in love with Rook. Well, for one, he's hot as hell. Undeniable. There's no argument. You're welcome. And there's also no denying that the character creator for this game is top tier. I mean, just adjusting the PC's bone structure or the detail they put into the many different choices of hair, picking a faction so your characters actually have a past is something they did in Origins, and games since then just stopped doing. All of the options really come together and allow you to make a PC you actually give a shit about, and that's pretty special. Being able to choose what past you have has to be the greatest perk. I mean, if you had me choose what my favorite character I created before this, I would have to say the wizard I made in Origins. Putting past in this person makes you actually pay attention. My least favorite character I created has to be everyone I created in Inquisition. In Inquisition, you're literally nobody. You're just someone who happened to be somewhere and is now in charge of the world's greatest revolution. There's no way to find out who you were before, because that's not the point of the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor's point was for you to be in the game, and doing that just kind of made him dull. The Inquisitor is just a mouthpiece for the player. They don't have a personality unless you happen to click on the personality dialogue choice. Because Rook has a past, he has a personality. You choose what he says and what he does, but at least my Rook shows personality not only in every option, but also in regular dialogue not chosen by the player. The dude is funny.
You have to hand it to the ancient elves. They love their statues. Such craftsmanship. Handmade from stone.
That's rather enough, Rook.
Okay. We've really been good at funerals. Sorry in advance for crying, which I will definitely do.
Oh, that's okay.
This is going well. Surrounded by friends.
She felt it all over her attraction to the hero, a powerful but properly contained tingle.
What are you working on?
Oh! Rook! I didn't see you. What did you hear?
Enough to get a powerful but properly contained tingle.
He talks about what his life was before you, which is changeable based on your player choices in the character creator. All these things build Rook to be someone rather than just being another PC characters typically run as a puppet for the person actually playing. Because Rook is so grounded in the story, his relationships with the team feels more important. I know he has the ability to care because he shows it, even if I'm not choosing what he says next. There's a weird small thing that threw me off, and that is the lack of body hair, which is a really weird thing to complain about, I understand. Not having body hair in any way, though, arm, chest, legs, it just feeds the whole Pixarification of the new art design. Obviously it's not a deal breaker, duh, but having all the characters look like hairless dolphins doesn't really help the argument that this game, with a very mature fan base, is now for little babies. But Bioware has always done this. Every dwarf you ever created was shaved down as if he was an Olympic swimmer, and that's just how it is, I guess. We also need to talk about Rook's relationships when it comes to romance. Dragon Age has always had romantic possibilities with your teammates, and in all of those games, those options have played a really big part of the dynamic that you build. Veilguard kinda drops that ball, at least in my opinion. Making it even more difficult for you to connect, we are now unable to just talk to your teammates outside of a cutscene. So I'm unable to talk about the relationship that I am now trying to foster. I'm unable to get a kiss like the other games. Hell, in the first game, they let you just smash by asking. Okay, I'm not complaining that I can't just go tap my teammates on demand, but it is a huge loss that I can't talk to them at all. I can't ask about their personal history, I can't ask them about how they feel about the current mission, and yes, I can't go ask them to go make out. All those are missed opportunities that show that they really wanted to move away from Dragon Age's mature setting, which is, again, a really huge shame. I was so excited that video games were now normalizing things like nudity and sexuality, cyberpunk, or Baldurs Gate 3. I'm an adult, and I want my adult game to treat me like one. Nobody is snickering at the wiener slider. Half the damn world has one, alright? They're not special. My take on the companions this game is a lot different from the other YouTubers that have reviewed this, because my opinion on the companions is, I like them. They fit really well together, and there is tons of chances to get to know them even though you can't talk to them. And not only that, but they get to know each other. Hell, some of them will even start a relationship. Their dynamic fits. They all kind of fall into a general personality archetype that fits a dysfunctional family. You got your cool older sister who gets shit done. She's driven, she's strong, she's even kind of famous. I liked her a lot in the beginning, but sadly pissed her off, and she kind of shut me down after that. Which was cool because then I got to try harder to get her attention. I might have had a larger soft spot for her because she's from the Shadow Dragons, and that was my chosen backstory for Rook. I've ran a few playthroughs on different factions, but so far the Shadow Dragons have always just been my favorite. The Shadow Dragons is the coolest order, Minthrasis is the coolest city, and Nev is the coolest companion. Balara is the nerdy younger sister. She's so nerdy, she even writes romantic fan fiction. She's been criticized a lot for being a Disney princess sort of person. And yeah, I can totally see that. I didn't like her very much at all in the beginning, honestly. Mostly because she uses a bow, and I already had a team member with a bow, so she seemed kind of pointless to me. But she ended up growing on me, and I really did like her story. I felt like it grew away from the Disney mindset and really filled her character out. Also, her skill, Galvatonic Tear, is the most useful skill any team member has. Harding, the other bow user, plays more of the best friend role. I love she gets more attention from the Inquisition game she was introduced in, plus her getting access to magic as a dwarf is really fucking cool. Sadly, as many of you might know, you don't get to play as your other companions, which just sucks. So now I get to have these cool earth powers and can't actually do shit with them besides move some platforms. Which is a really good time to take a break and talk about companion field abilities, which are a total letdown. Every team member can affect the environment in a specific way, letting you to get access to new areas. So you think, oh, I might have to actually be aware of what team member I have in my party when I go to a specific place. Maybe I'll have to come back later with Harding to move us a rock to get into a cave or some shit. But no, for some reason the dagger you carry can use their skills regardless of where they are, making it completely pointless. Again, another thing they could have changed to make it a better game, but again, we have what we have. Lucanus is the smoldering bad boy boyfriend. Well, he was in my game. I kind of regret romancing him, to be honest. Very little came from it besides an almost flirty kiss. He had a continuous habit of edgelording away. His skills are also kind of boring. He throws daggers, or he could throw other daggers, or he can jump in the air and throw a dagger. Storyline, though, is pretty interesting. Him being possessed with a spirit is sick, and in Dragon Age fashion, being possessed by a spirit does not end well. Heinrich is the black sheep. The focus they did on necromancy is one of the coolest things and choices they made for this game compared to the past ones. It does get kinda Disney dark rather than dark, but it does give us the best team member in the entire game, so it's worth it. And I'm not talking about Heinrich, I'm of course talking about Manfred.
Manfred, can you pour fancy wine and nod? Send him in.
Manfred is a spirit of curiosity, learning the world, and I would die for him. Manfred does not help the whole Disney comparison thing, and I don't really care. He's perfect, leave him alone. Everyone just accepts him as the little buddy he is, and it's great. Darvin is the older brother, and he also comes with a Disney sidekick pet. This one is excused because of the whole history that Dragon Age has with griffins and wardens is really deep, so I feel like a lot of people agree with me that seeing griffins come back into the story is actually welcomed. Darvin is tough, but obviously a softie, and I really liked having him around. Honestly, I regretted not romancing him, but to be honest, hey, that's what second runs are for. And now we get to talk about Taash. I have a lot of complicated feelings on how they handled them. First off, I really like that they had a non-binary character in the game. I'm gay, I have non-binary friends, I have trans friends, straight, lesbian, all over. I've spent a lot of time with people from every part of the spectrum. And as someone in the LGBT family, seeing representation in media is really important. Seeing someone like you being successful can inspire people and kids to overcome outcomes. Seeing someone like you having normal hardships helps you connect and understand that bad things happen to everyone equally. But making their status their whole point is just pandering. And it just becomes, look, we made a non-binary person, aren't we super cool? If Tasha's story was just overcoming her relationship with her mother and the Qun and whether or not they should follow in her mother's footsteps, and then also happens to be non-binary, this would be a completely different conversation. But Taash isn't a non-binary person with problems. Tasha's problem is that they're non-binary, and we have to help them overcome it. The story of someone going through that has played 1,000 million times in media. We have seen this story. Dorian in Inquisition is a good example. He wasn't a man whose issue was that he was gay. He was a gay man with issues. He did have a scene with his father that was centered around not being accepted by him, but it wasn't his whole identity. The scene isn't even mandatory. And also, if you think someone who struggles with their gender identity is just gonna dump all of that on someone who's literally a person of authority, he's their captain, in like the second day they meet is incredibly ridiculous. It's not hard to write these stories for people. What sucks most about this is it's a huge step backwards, and it's a major blow to anyone trying to fight for equality. What they've created is ammo that can be aimed at us. I read online that someone said that Taash in Dragon Age Veilguard is LGBT propaganda, and I can't disagree with them. Because you, as the player, can't disagree with Taash. Your only options are to help them through this. And again, you're their boss. It's really not your place to be doing this, so please don't get that in your head that it's okay. I'm gonna move on, but I just want to say that this sucked. Nobody won with this story. And I'm not gonna bring up the push-up scene, because I have never seen something more infuriating in my entire life. So the action in this game is very fun, but it's very obvious that this was built to be a mobile game. Everything's super flashy, there's a lot of pixel graphics, everything has a cooldown, but it's fun. It reminds me of Final Fantasy 16. It's not the Final Fantasy game we wanted, but it was still worth playing. Except Final Fantasy 16 has way better writing. Just want to draw that line in the sand. When starting this game, I was really excited about the skill trees. But as a mage, there really are like only 2 ways you can build your character and end up in: staff or sword. Not being able to play as your companions again is a really big shame. It helped break the monotony of playing the same class over and over again. Sadly, unlike Inquisition, the number of actual skills that you have is way down. So much down that they only let you map 3 of them at a time, which is way less than Inquisition's 8. But actional skills aren't the only thing you learn. You also get to enhance your base attack actions, which is really cool, but most of what you learn are passive skills. You are able to respect, so you are able to try out the different specializations, which is a good thing. I'm glad they have that. This is a sad trend that games have been going down. Dragon's Dogma 2, for instance, is a good example. Thankfully, the action in this game is fun. There's a lot going on, and there are a lot of systems and mechanics happening underneath. If you really wanted to double down and focus on things to make it more complicated, it's there for you. The worst part about it though is the companion skills. They get a full cooldown on all of them, so you really don't get to use them a whole lot. They want you to pair the skills up to do a large combo effect that comes off like a big bomb. And honestly, I suggest that you don't do that. I suggest that you use skills that look cool and are fun. I had way more fun using skills to mess with the debuffs than I did using the combo bomb. The items and equipment that you get in Veilguard are interesting. At first I didn't really like how the equipment looked, but it grew on me quite rapidly. The abilities and passives that certain equipment have will change based on what class you're wearing. There are no class-specific, class-only equipment besides weapons. You can also change your appearance to look like any equipment you find, so finding some big ugly piece of armor could just be your little secret, and you can have a cool tuxedo on the outside of it. The collectibles and items that you pick up are also kind of a miss. Very mobile gamey. You'll find equipment or crafting materials, but not really anything to craft. Instead, you'll turn them in dump truck style into merchants so that they would upgrade their wares. Now it's time to talk about the new art direction, because it is one hell of a left turn. Didn't like it at first, like everyone else, but not only did I get used to it, I ended up kinda liking it. The character models are absolutely fantastic. Childish at points, yes, sure, but still incredibly well done. The landscapes are absolutely top tier, especially the cities. I was very excited at the idea of being able to actually travel and walk through them in Rathis. Not only did they absolutely kill it, but it quickly became my favorite city in the entire series. This game has those type of areas that the level of detail is so damn good, you'll end up just kind of looking around a bit. The level creation, though, itself is not very adventure focused. It kind of reminds me of Sly Cooper. The areas tend to be just large dumping grounds where they could fill it up with cool stuff to look at. There'll be enemies walking around that you'll have to interact with. You'll go to a specific point of that map where one of your companions will be there asking if you wanted to start the mission, and then you would jump into that mission, working more like an instance dungeon would in an MMORPG. I guess what I'm trying to say is this game is worth playing, but if you're looking for Dragon Age 4, I'm sorry, man. I mourn it with you. We have to be honest with the fact that we're most likely just not going to get that installment. Dragon Age is probably going to end here, and that sucks. But Dragon Age ended when most of their staff left Bioware anyway. This is kind of just a dead horse they're just dragging along for the money. This game does wrap up a lot of story-driven questions that people have had since the first game. So they definitely put the hat on this and called it done. But regardless of it not being the installment we wanted, it's what we have. And it's not like it's shit. It's a perfectly playable, perfectly fun, action-driven RPG that's at least worth trying before just condemning it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you appreciated this or wanted to see more like it, please hit subscribe below. It means so much to me, and that's all I got. Bye, I love you.